All right, so it looks like we have some good news on the tax legislation that's making its way through Congress. House Ways and Means Committee has solidified something on the estate tax exemption. And I know a lot of you guys are like, what does that have to do with me? It's a big deal, man. This is a big deal. The estate tax exemption looks like it's going to be solidified at $15 million and adjusted for inflation. Which is good. I didn't actually see it. I think there's something called there should be something called portability in there, which means you get $15 million, your spouse gets $15 million as well. And if you don't use your estate tax exemption, your spouse can then have $30 million in estate tax exemption. And I know a lot of you guys, it won't affect me, it won't affect you, I get it. But it affects the people who matter, and that's the small business owners and farmers in particular. People don't have a lot of liquidity in which to pay an estate tax. And I know, look, man, I get it. You're like, oh my goodness, no one has $30 million. Let's just say you're a small business owner and you've been building your business. And now finally you're 68, 70 years old and you found that your business is now worth $20 million. All right. So if you did not have the estate tax exemption, when you died, your estate would be taxed on a $20 million estate. And I think it's 45%. It used to be 55% on anything above 600. I mean, literally in my lifetime in 2003, anything above $675,000 was subject to a 55% estate tax, and there's no portability, which meant if I did not use my estate tax exemption, I gave everything to my spouse. When my spouse died, she'd be. It looks like we just had an earthquake that hit Georgia. My wife just texted crazy. My wife would have $675,000. That would be subject to no tax and everything else would be taxed. It was crazy, man, crazy. But anyway, so now we have portability, which means what I don't use, if I give it to my wife, she can then use when she dies, her estate can, which is good. Anyway, so now you're a business owner, you got $20 million estate, basically all tied up in your land, your real estate, your goodwill, all the stuff you got in your accounts receivable, all the stuff you got in your inventory in your estate, and all of a sudden the government says, hey man, we're going to tax you 45% on that $20 million that your net worth is. You're like, you're dead, but your estate's like, I don't have whatever that is, $8 million of cash just laying around. I don't have that kind of money. So what you have to do, you got to sell it, and you got to sell it at a fire sale. Now I think you're a farmer, and let's just say you got 150 acres in Shenandoah Valley, you're a Mennonite farmer. And then they just expanded I-81. And so now your farm is very, very valuable from a real estate perspective. So you're real estate rich, but cash poor. And now you're like, dude, you don't have any, your kids don't want to join doing the farming. It doesn't even matter if they want to do the farming or not, because this non-spouse beneficiaries, they get the money because they still got to pay the estate tax. Where's the cash flow come to pay that estate tax? Oh, life insurance, Josh, don't you know? Yeah, but now you're 65 years old when your estate is now worth $20 million. How many insurance companies are just going to give you a freaking $10 million life insurance policy when your body's been beaten up, you're 65 years old? How much is that going to cost? $100,000 a year? How many business owners and farmers have $100,000 a year just laying around to pay for a life insurance policy? Anyway, a lot of people say, the estate tax, who cares? It's only for rich people. No, it's for small business owners and farmers. People who are cash poor in real estate or business inventory heavy. That's just a fact, dude. So it's a big deal. The fact that got through the House Ways and Means, I appreciate. What I would do actually is here's what I would do. No estate tax unless your estate is worth $50 million or more. And then you got to pay a 45% estate tax. And then no freaking charitable giving donations. I mean, literally what we want to do is we don't want to go after the business owners. We want to go after the rich, the Bill Gates. Bill Gates is giving 99% of his estate to charity. Well, there's no tax at all transpiring in that. None whatsoever. It's just scumbaggery, man. It just really pisses me off. So Bill Gates gets to give these charities, of which he certainly has a say in how they're operated. Did you hear about the World Health Organization? Bill Gates is by far the biggest contributor to the WHO. You tell me the WHO is in a subsidiary of Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation. But no, let's not tax them at all, Josh. Instead, let's tax that freaking farmer or the small business owner who just, the whole thing's so corrupt. But anyway, so it's a good first step. Part two, which got me fired up, is they did it, which is good. Because remember, they were initially thought they're going to get rid of the step-up basis. That is not in the new law. Again, it's not a law yet. It's just passed through the House Ways and Means. Every tax thing originates through the House Ways and Means. I just FYI. So if anything that happens through the House Ways and Means Committee is a big deal. So if it passes, it gets a little legitimized through the House Ways and Means, you know you're on the right path. So they're not getting rid of the step-up basis. So step-up basis looks like it's here to stay. There was some issues that Sniffy Joe was going to get rid of that. I looked at his tax thing. I didn't see anything on that, but people were freaking out. So that's a big deal, man. So we got 2 wins here, and I'm getting this from Robert Keebler, actually. Robert Keebler, CPA. Robert Keebler has probably been more of an impact on my life as a financial planner than anyone else, other than the lady who taught me how to look at the 1040s, Rhonda from Gretna, where was it? In Western Virginia. Gretna, West Virginia. Rhonda, I can't remember her last name. She crushed. She was a freaking... So when I was working in banking, a small business banker, we went to this tax class for First Citizens Bank in Charlotte. And Rhonda, I want to say, what is it? Gretna, West Virginia? Not West Virginia, Western Virginia. I can't remember, but it was some mountain town in Western Virginia, and she spoke like you're like, and yet she knew the tax thing like you wouldn't believe. I said, man, and I understood it. It was crazy. I said, I get this, because if you're a small business banker, you got to know how to read a 1040 so you can submit your business proposal, your loan proposal to your underwriters. You got to know how to look at 1040. And I was like, dude. Anyway, so Robert Keebler and Rhonda. I wasn't Gretna, Virginia. I'm drawing a blank. Grinley or something like that. Anyway, if you're on LinkedIn, follow Robert Keebler, like Keebler Ells. And actually, it's funny because Keebler, I think he used to be a tax professor or something like that at University of Missouri, Kansas City. And they had a bunch of like estate guys I used to follow from UMKC. And I don't know if they're still big on the estate stuff, but a lot of tax guys, a lot of estate guys came from University of Missouri, Kansas City. It's just freaking legends. I learned so much from these dudes. It's crazy. And anyway, just FYI. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts.